Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Should You Buy, where we check out the game and see if it's worth your money or not. I'm your host, Julio Escobar. Let's jump right into it. Ever wondered what it'd be like to mix Destiny, Warframe, and Genshin Impact? The First Descendant might be just your answer. It's a free-to-play, third-person shooter with a heavy emphasis on clearing objectives, then you do a small raid type of mission. The game has an emphasis on flashy characters, fun gameplay, and looting. I went with Ajax, the Void Guardian. He's a tanky frontliner who uses void energy to create shields for his allies and deflect damage back to the enemies. I really loved his character design, especially with the Gravewalker horns on his helmet. Makes me feel like an epic hero doing a last stand in an action movie. I thought he was really cool. I didn't get a chance to play the beta or earlier version of the First Descendant, but I kept a close eye on this one. It's been sitting on my wishlist for the past couple months now, and when I saw they released it a day earlier, I was super excited. I would say this game handled well on day one of launch, not much on lag on servers or stupid long wait times to log in, which compared to other games on their launch day, their servers would instantly crash. I'll admit, on consoles, some users reported laggy or unplayable gameplay. On July 5th, they released a hot patch that addressed performance and minor bug fixes. This is a good sign that the devs aren't just gonna abandon the game on launch and bank on the microtransactions. The game's story revolves around you being a descendant, and you're given a mission to fight against the invaders from the Void called the Vulgus. You must protect the last remnant of humanity on the Aegis continent. You do missions and boss fights to get stronger and better gear to take down the higher level enemies you'll face later on. You go through a decent storyline trying to uncover your character's secret. All the while, you get to experience all of this on Unreal Engine 5. The story wasn't all that compelling for me though, but the game did look nice. The characters were designed well, and you can tell they took their time on making things nice to look at. It was visually pleasing to watch Ajax just mow down through waves of enemies with my machine gun. After a long day at work, you could just come home and turn your brain off and enjoy the show. You start your run with 3 to 4 simple missions. The objectives come from the generic pool missions of clear the enemies, collect the samples, or destroy the objective. They were fun in the beginning, but after a while, they get pretty dry pretty fast. And if you think about it too much, it starts to feel too repetitive. I'll admit the game does try to add some dramatic flair to it with the plot lines and subplot lines added in. For example, one of your allies deserts the battlefield and then he just runs off. But in the next mission, he kind of comes back and everybody's like, alright, fine, welcome back. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, not much, repercussions here. Like, you could have just ignored that whole little storyline right there and it would have been just the same. Now, how it works is you get to choose 3 different weapons from the archetype weapons like scout rifle, pulse rifle, hand cannon, sniper, shotgun, trace rifle, sidearm, etc. Then you can modify each weapon with module cards, which can do different things like increase damage, reduce recoil, increase attack speed, etc. Does this sound very similar or familiar to something else? You guessed it. The game gets some cues from games like Destiny and Warframe. Some interesting aspects though are the upgrading and modding system. You get cards that give you buffs, and these can apply to almost every aspect of your character, like your weapons, your suit, and the reactor. The intense farming for grinding for materials can get tedious at times, especially when the ads start to feel like bullet sponges. Especially the raids. The mini boss feels like he has 3 separate health bars. You have to break your shield, which is done by destroying mobs around them or destroying the mini shield generators. Then for a brief moment his shields go down, and then you have to do much damage as possible in a short time. Rinse and repeat like 3 times or so, then you get to finally kill the mini boss. It goes from being difficult or fun to being tedious and dragging out the fight for too long. My opinion on the game is that there is a solid foundation for a solid game here, and it's hard to argue against how it's free to play. The game borrows mostly good mechanics from familiar games in the genre like Warframe and Destiny. The gunplay feels quite solid, similar to Destiny. The sounds and the visual feedback of your guns and character are well done, I'd say. It really draws you in there. The ultimate variant of characters are technically free to get, but just too much farming and grinding with such low drop rates, it almost makes me want to spend money on the game. My favorite part are the boss dungeons, or what the game calls the Void Intercept battles. They're probably the most original thing from the game, and it's a nice break from the endless and mindless running around and gunning people down. It really tests your ability to think on your feet and find the boss weakness. It also makes you have to coordinate and strategize with your team, because if you don't plan accordingly, you're going to fail for sure. Now the bad. The microtransactions are overpriced for sure, and the grinding for the crafting materials take forever. I think it should be either or, but not both. Because you can't have something borderline impossible to achieve, but the guy who's willing to drop some cash to get it, It seems like a cop-out to me and makes all the hard work pointless. Story is also not really there. The game isn't playing on that strength. It plays on its nice character visuals and gunplay, which definitely makes the game interesting, so I respect that. They got that right. Also, what's really fun is the grappling hook. It's very fun to use. It gives like those Halo Infinite vibes. I think the game has the potential to be up there with other games like Destiny Warframe, but it's gonna have to get some tweaks and major fixes done for sure. I think it's gonna have to figure out its own personality and identity compared to the other two, not just be like a clone carbon copy of the other games. I think the intercept battles are a good start for it. It gives them a chance to be their own game. I would say reduce the price on the microtransactions or increase the loot drop rates enough to make it attainable for the masses. The game is definitely fun for sure, and if you sit back and enjoy the show, it's a pleasurable experience. It's kind of those games where you turn off your brain, it's going to be a lot of just epic fun, especially with some friends. But in its current state, I wouldn't recommend pumping money into cosmetics. And if you're familiar with Warframe or Destiny, or want to dump some time into a new looter shooter, I'd say definitely give it a shot. Just don't spend a whole paycheck on the ultimate version of Bunny. If you thought I missed anything, feel free to add it in the comment section below.